Hey friends, B here with another video for Scrappy Boy Stamps, and today we're going to be making a really fun card using the recently released Novel Traditions stamp set, also the outline dies for the same set, the library stamp, the 1920s Elegance. We're also going to be using ground espresso, gathered twigs, and vintage photo. For our stamping, we're going to be using tuxedo black, memento, rich cocoa memento, and of course you can use any inks that you would like, but we're going to be making kind of like a vintage card, and it's going to be so much fun. So we're going to be using that, and then here I have all my Copic markers that we're going to be using for coloring, and this is E49, E47, E44, E43, E42, E41, E40. Then we have E55, E31, 53, E51, and E50. These are all the ones that we're going to be using. Let's go ahead and make a card. Before we start adding our inks, I want you to notice that I have left my paper here on my Misty. I'm doing this because after I add my oxides, sometimes the lines are muted and I don't know if I am going to like that look. So I left my stamp here ready to go in case that I need to stamp it again. Now, if you do not have a Misty or any other stamping platform that allows you to do these, first you're going to do the blending of the inks and then you're going to do the stamping. So mark with like the area where your ink needs to be, do the oxide, and then do the stamping. That way you don't have to work double and then you stamp in the wrong spot and then you have to start over. So anyway, I am going to start with vintage photo. In most of our paper, it's going to be vintage photo because these two are quite dark and I don't want my picture to be too dark. So I am going to do vintage photo and then very little of the gathered twigs, and right around the edge, the ground espresso. Make sure that you go back and forth between your inks. That way you get a really nice, smooth blend and you don't get those harsh lines between the inks. I am going to speed through this part where you're going to be able to see what I am doing, and I will see you at the end. Okay, so I have decided not to stamp it again because it kind of like the muted background so my images can stand out. Also, if you want to create this look, if you want to make the same card, you can do this to the background and then you can add pops of color to your images instead of everything sepia, like vintage looking, and it will look really nice. Yeah, muted background and then those images like color with really dark shades of whatever colors you're choosing, and it will look really nice. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just cut around with my trimmer and I come back to show you. So this is how it looks like. I am totally obsessed with this background. You can even, if you don't want to add the images, like now that I'm making these cars, so many ideas have come to my mind. Like you can just do this background and add a sentiment and it will look so pretty. You can also, if you have interactive lights, you can add a light to your lamp or maybe to the fireplace. I mean, possibilities are endless, you guys. Now I'm gonna set my background aside and we are going to stamp our images, and I am going to use, so I'm gonna be using him and her. So I think I'm gonna put him here and her over here, and then one of the sentiments. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp, and in the middle of doing this I have changed my mind. I'm not gonna use Tuxedo Memento Black. I'm actually gonna use the Rich Cocoa because I want my card to have that vintage feel, and I think that if I do the black, it's gonna be harsh. I think so. Let's go ahead and do Rich Cocoa. I'm sorry, you guys. If you already stamped, you can save your images for another card, right? Okay, so now it's time to color. We're gonna color together. I will speed through some parts so it's not such a long video, but we're gonna color together. So we're gonna start with her. For the skin, I think we're gonna use E50, 51, and 53. So I have E50, E51, and E53. E53 being the darker. So I am gonna go ahead and do her skin. The E53 is gonna be, wait a minute, because I think, yep, I did tip to tip with another marker and this was weird. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna be kind of like the shading, I guess. Let me know in the comments, guys. Have you watched this show? I watch it with my oldest daughter, and we love this show. We haven't finished though. It's a long series, but it's lovely. And I'm gonna say something here. Hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler, but we stopped watching it for a little bit because I got mad. I got mad with some stuff that was happening. And I was like, no, it cannot be. Then we're gonna go with E51. And then we're gonna go with E50. And I'm going to repeat the same with his skin. So for this part, I am going to speed up. You're going to be able to see what I'm doing, but it's the same 3 markers that I'm using. Now we're gonna go ahead and do his hair, and for his hair we're gonna use E55, E31, E50. So I'm gonna start with E55. Then E31 is our next one. E50. Now we're gonna go ahead and do her hair. And because she has darker hair, I'm gonna use E49, E47, E44. Now for the parts that I think are white, like for example his shirt, her shirt as well, I want white. So I'm gonna use E43, E42, E41, E40, and we're gonna start with E43. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough space to use all four, but you want to use less of the darker ones and more of the 41 and 40 to make it look kind of white. So for his shirt, I'm gonna do this right here because that is the darkest, and then just very lightly here. And then for her, oh, you know what, look, I forgot to color her neck completely, so I will go back to that in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and do her headband with E42. E41. E40. For her dress, I'm gonna do E44, 43, 41, and 40. And we're gonna start with E44. I added some E43 to her lips. And then for his suit, I'm gonna do E49, E47, E44, and E43. For his tie, I'm just gonna go ahead with E55 and fill it out like so. And when this tie is dry, I'm gonna go again with E55 and create kind of like a little bit of shadowing. So I'm gonna put my E55 aside for that tie later, and I'm gonna start with E49. Sorry guys, my phone decided that it didn't want to record anymore, but all I did was this with E49, and then we continue with E47. is how our two characters look like. I am going now to go ahead and use my outline dies to cut around them. Then we're gonna finish building our card. Okay, so here I have my images, my sentiment, the background, and I want to use one of these papers. I mean, these papers, you guys, are mouth drooling. They are gorgeous. Like, look at this beauty. But then I'm gonna choose one that I can kind of like, oh my gosh, so pretty. I am going to go through all of them and I'll see you at the end. And after I added my sentiment with some foam tape, I added some foam tape for her, and for him I just glue him down. And this is how my card turned out. Absolutely love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.